friend, Roberto Blake.
Hey, everybody.
And today's episode is talking about how to plan and strategize for this year, for the quarter, for whatever you need to strategize, nurturing relationships. It's the whole game, right? Especially in business, but in life in general. Whether you're in college and you need a buddy to, listen, it's life, it's human connection. But I really want to talk specifically in the business world, because I know all of my solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and towers of industry are watching. And so let's talk about the art, because I really do believe it's an art. My grandfather really was the bedrock of entrepreneurship for me. He had his business for more than 56 years, and when he passed away, telling his clients was literally like telling a family member that had passed away, because those were the types of relationships that he built. It was truly organic and authentic and providing whatever service and value that person needed. And so that's the DNA I have. My mother also had her own business for 26 years. Entrepreneurs run in my family. And so with my parents and my grandfather, I really have a deep understanding and love for taking the time to build relationships from a business perspective. And so, Roberto, what are your thoughts on that?
So I completely agree. One of the things I would say is scheduling and prioritizing it matters. I think that one of the things people need to look at is, I would say, make a list of 10... No, wait, before you do even that, take a list of 5 things that you think you need help with.
What do you mean?
Well, 5 goals that you need help achieving, or 5 things that are in the near future for you. And
projects.
Yeah, sure. So make a list of those 5 things. Now, for each of those things, make a list of 5 people, and it's fine if they overlap, that can help you with those 5 projects and those 5 things.
Okay.
So now, if there's no overlap, you have 25 people that you have to build relationships with over the next, whatever your goal is, 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, a year, what have you. And so that gives you a purposeful outline, so that you're not just, making relationships with people arbitrarily. You're focused on the relationships where you can get the most value from, and then you just have to challenge yourself to give as much value as you can to those people.
Okay, so just to let you know, this episode is going to be a traveling episode, as we're about to get on a train. So if you see a break in new environments, I love that, first of all. But we are on the go, and listen, that actually really speaks to the episode, right? If it is of value to you, because I believe that nothing gets put on your calendar unless it is a top value in your life, whether it's health, whether it's getting outdoors, building relationships. It has to be a value for it to consistently live in your life. And so, life happens, right? We get busy. Sometimes there's not enough time to sit down with someone. So why not think outside the box?
Right.
We are on the go, literally, and that's not going to stop us. He has a meeting to go to literally as we arrive in the city, so do I, and then we're going to part ways. But when you make it a value, you just find the time, even if it's talking on a train, while I'm getting a manicure, whatever the case may
prioritize.
be. You prioritize, and then your mind gets really creative in terms of how you can do it. Like I had mentioned in the other episode of getting outdoors, if being in the outdoors inspires and informs your work and is really important to you, then start taking your business meetings outside. I mean, listen, I have, friends that anytime we get together, we literally walk around the block or several blocks, and that's our meeting. But it's because it's a value for us to get outside.
Yeah.
And so, go ahead.
Like Terry Teraspicio, a great speaker. She's in Grant Cardone's network for Grant Cardone TV. She does these power talking lunches where she live streams from the street while she's having lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
And again,
it's
it
brilliant.
means she engages with her audience.
She can have lunch.
Can have a conversation. And it's brilliant because it means that she's not having to interrupt her day, at least not entirely, and that by working this in as a priority, its schedule is just like, in prioritizing building relationships, it's just like how I prioritize making content. If you make it a habit, it's easier to maintain it. And once you have these relationships, you have to maintain them. So if you make it a habit to
and you
check
hold yourself accountable,
then that's going to matter. So I think that that's something that people have to take into consideration. Is they have to look at their vulnerability in consistency, and they have to create hacks for themselves to say, you know what, I'm not good at this, but if I do
exactly,
this,
we were just talking about that,
but if I do this, it'll force me to do that, and
exactly.
then that's a good habit for me to have, so I'll build on that. Well, building relationships, I think, is like building great habits, so it means spending more time, investing, and doubling down, and that's the hard part. That's why people suck at relationships, is because it's hard to give up your time.
Well, and they think that it also has to fit in this perfect framework, right? That, like, let's take a personal romantic relationship, for example, a husband or wife, or even boyfriend, girlfriend, that they assume that, like, a quality relationship is based on being together a lot of time, vacations and all of that. But what about us hustlers, right? The people who are really trying to build
5 minutes is quality time.
You know,
with me.
to build, like, significant businesses.
Yeah.
You know, it's about, when you're with your partner, are you completely 100% engaged, and nothing else in the world matters other than
well, I say
being
5
with
minutes
that
is
person.
quality time. I'm not even being facetious. It's like, okay, for these 5 or 10 minutes, the phone's off or it's face down, and that's that.
It's all
and
you,
that's like,
right?
You know, like when I'm having lunch with friends or a meal with friends, a lot of times we've formed a habit of, you know, taking our smartphones and laying it face down on the table.
Exactly.
And so that's our sign to each other that we're respecting this time, and like we're in the moment and we're being present. And so
it's 100% about quality versus quantity.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that people just get distracted or caught up in the narrative of, you didn't spend enough time with me, but what's enough time?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's so subjective, isn't it?
It is, but I also think that in general, it's like, I mean, it's just like meetings. I don't believe in hour-long meetings. I hate
I can't,
unless I'm billing you for an hour.
Yeah.
Like if I'm charging you hundreds of dollars, cool. Spend as much time as you want if I'm billing by the hour. But
no, listen. I remember, like, planning. I'm sorry. No. Go ahead.
Well, when I get a client call that's not anything where I'm getting paid or anything like that, I'm like, I want that to be as short as possible. And like usually I'm in the middle of something, so I'd be like, hey.
Ooh, the train is here.
5 minutes, I got to run. So I mean,
like,
it's just
literally,
like,
the train is here.
But we got this episode in, right?
We got it in. Thanks. Okay, bye, Roberto. Thanks. Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Great seeing you, darling. Okay, guys. So as you see, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, make the time to nurture those relationships. Budget the time. Strategize how you're going to fit it in, because it is the most important piece in business. Thanks for watching.